Let's see what happens. Welcome to Scar and Do. This is our second show, and hopefully we'll get through some of our technical difficulties that I had last time, and we're going to keep getting better. Just like the Michigan Wolverines, we're going to have faith. We're going to keep getting better. There's some things that we can feel positive about, but there's a lot we got to work on. And Michigan people, let's keep the faith. I'm going to refer to my old teammate, Sweet John Dewar. Sweet Dew, how you doing, brother?
Doing great. Obviously, we got some things to get better on. However, like you just said, there is some positives to take from the film. There's some things that are quick and easy fix, some things that aren't, but it is not doom and gloom. I said it in my Sunday review at the end of it. This isn't the end of the season. This is the beginning of getting better. So keep the faith.
So listen, today what we're going to do, we're going to go over just some, in no particular order, just a couple things, couple thoughts on a lot of different things, and then eventually we're going to get into the film. We're going to spend the majority of the time on the film and diagnose it, look at it. Couple quick shots out there. Tom Brady. I heard him talking about when he was playing, when they scored a touchdown, he demanded we celebrated as a team. Now, what bothers me about that statement, he didn't give credit to where I believe he learned it. I did all those things as a coach. I know how I was taught all that stuff from Schembechler. And you and I remember with Coach Moeller, when there was an interception, he talked about it. We coached it. I love Tom Brady. Tom, give credit to where you learned that stuff. Don't make it sound like you came out of the womb understanding that it's the job to celebrate as a team. So that's probably the one and only time ever I have ever taken a shot at Tom Brady because I love him, and he's made my job easy as a coach. Do any thoughts?
I'll tell you what, that does translate down the line. I taught the same thing to my players, and I remember in practice, we were just talking about in 1985. We were in practice and somebody made a play on defense. I don't know if they tipped a pass or recovered a fumble. And the teammates just kind of went back towards the huddle, waited for the next call. And Moeller stopped practice, scolded us on, this guy just made a great play for Michigan. He improved our circumstances in this game, and you guys all just walked over there like nothing happened. We actually lined up and had to do sprints, and that's where perfect play came from. And that's what Moeller instituted. You did it with your players. I used to teach my players the same thing. If I saw them not celebrating a player who just did something for us, they heard about it.
Yeah. And as a player, there's no greater motive. The crowd can be going crazy. 100,000 people can go crazy about you making a good play, but there's nothing better than having the 10 other dudes on the field smacking you on the head because you just sacked the quarterback or picked the ball. Anyway, I want to comment about it. Tom, remember who taught you that. Matt Patricia. Everybody's blowing Matt Patricia, the disguise genius. Dude, we're going to figure we got 11 games to look at the guy.
Right.
So a lot of his stuff and a lot of the things he's doing, we'll get time to figure it out. So that's my quick thought on that. I've got it here on our headline. My old teammate Dew wasn't there when Jerry was playing, but you guys all know Jerry. You've listened to him. He's worked with Denny. He's in the hospital, and we need his prayers. And he's the pride of Y-Town, Youngstown, Ohio. And I just got to give a shout out to my buddy Jerry Diorio and do Al Fracassa, the legend.
I know,
Brother Rice legend, sent a lot of guys to Michigan. I go way back with Al Fracassa, the Brother Rice head coach. He knew Chuck Fairbanks. He called Chuck Fairbanks when I was in high school. He says, take a look at this guy. So I got an official visit to go out to Colorado. Chuck Fairbanks never even saw film of me. Fracassa says you can play. Offered me a scholarship. And then I played in the first All-Star game, and Al Fracassa was the head coach.
Yeah.
And so I go back. I actually worked the camp with Al Fracassa in Canada. Dude, the kids, we get done with practice, and the kids are going to buy a case of beer. Drinking age was 19 over there. And those kids go to school and they're 19.
Al might not have liked that.
No, he didn't let. We're around the campfire, and the kids are drinking beer with the coaches. Anyway, I love Al, and a lot of great players he sent to Michigan, man. And just want to talk about that. Any thoughts on any of that?
Man, an absolute legend in high school football, and these guys that devote their whole life to teaching this game to high schooler kids. Man, rest in peace, Al. Condolences to his family. Michigan, the state of Michigan, high school football was a better game because of guys like Al Fracassa.
Yeah, he just a great man. I'm going to go to his wake here in a couple of days. Anyway, how about we got Biff going to be jumping in. I shook Biff's hand, had a good talk with him. His son played at Michigan. He's successful high school coach, and then went to Charlotte for a couple of years, and it didn't happen for him. But the way Sharon and the way Jim ran the program, and I always said it when Jim was out. If you're a delegating guy, which Jim was, at game day, Jim was just part of the collaboration in terms of play calling. And of course, you're going to make the call on whether to go for it on fourth down, punt it, kick the field goal, some of those big decisions. And but the way Sharon does things, just like Jim, I think he's part of the collaboration offensively with play calling. So it'll be totally irrelevant with defense. Wink will be doing his thing. Totally irrelevant with the special teams, and then the offensive part of it. It'll just be those guys, one less guy, part of the collaboration. But Biff is the guy. I think it's vastly overrated that he's out for the game, just like it was when Jim. I'm going to be consistent on that. The big thing is he's out the week of practice before Nebraska. Now, that's the way I understand that. Is that true, Duke?
So I was just going to ask you the same thing. I thought that he was out the entire week leading up to these two games because of the suspension. But then I read a blurb that, no, he's practicing. He's at practice this week.
But it's the following week.
He's at practice this week, but not next week?
That's the way I understand it. Maybe we get some clarification, but anyway, that's the way I perceive it. And if that's the case, that's like the worst case scenario, because that's where you want to be there as a coach. And of all the first four games we played, that's the last game I would want is the first home, is the first Big Ten opener. Yeah. That's always the number one goal. So Biff's in there. It is what it is. And I think we're going to be, I think it's totally pretty much irrelevant to winning and losing. The 85 Bears yesterday celebrating 40 years. And JJ went out there and got it done at the end. We're happy for JJ. Dude, when I was on my recruiting trip to Michigan State, I met the Fridge.
Really?
Yeah.
He was on a visit at the same time.
That's right. He was he didn't say much, but they wanted him bad. They wanted the Fridge bad. I mean, he played a lot as a freshman at Clemson. And I remember meeting him. Man, he didn't say much, but I just remember the size of his hands, man. I shook his hand. I think his ring was like a 22 or something. But anyway, he was on that 85 Bear team. They had him over there at Soldier Field last night. Great job by JJ bringing him back. Any thoughts?
That was a beautiful, beautiful fourth quarter. He struggled. Of course, if you looked online, everybody from East Lansing to Columbus was mocking their JJ, and it just bit him in the butt because JJ grew up right in front of our eyes in the fourth quarter. He threw that interception, and then I was listening to one of the players. I don't know who it was. I don't think it was Jefferson, but they huddle up on offense. It's just right after the interception, and JJ looks at the rest of the guys in the huddle and says, "Is there any place you'd rather be than right here?"
Who taught him that?
Right? Right. So then he goes out, and all of a sudden it's a different player, and he's throwing strikes, and he's not taking as long to make his reads. He threw a dart to Jefferson for a touchdown. He threw that nice wheel route to the running back, and then he had a beautiful zone read play for the touchdown. Unbelievable fourth quarter. Scored 21 points, 2 touchdown passes and a touchdown run in the fourth quarter against a division rival at their field, celebrating the 40th year of the Bears. That was an amazing effort. What a quarterback, man. What a player. What a fighter.
Always happy for Michigan guys. Always cheered for him. Yeah, there's no substitute for a smart guy, tough guy that can run at quarterback. Not a lot of love here for Rich Rod. Not sad to see him lose to Ohio. Not at all. Any thoughts there? Are you in agreement with that one?
Yeah.
We'll move on from that. Alex Orji, the great player at Michigan, team guy, soldier, tough guy, out for the season, hamstring. So he's out for the season, and he's there. UNLV just beat UCLA. Sad to see that.
Sad to see it. The guy tore his hamstring so bad he needs surgery. He's out for the year.
That's something else, man.
Hey, man, guys leave the program because they want to better their circumstances or they see their. I have no problem with these guys transferring. I'm sad to see that guy get injured. He's a good kid.
Oh, yeah. Team guy, tough guy. But basically what we saw what Oklahoma do, I'm going to get back on track with some of this other stuff. What we saw from Oklahoma was orgy package with a guy who can throw.
Yeah.
That's what we saw. We saw orgy package with a guy who can throw. They were so tough to defend out of one back, empty. We still got quarterback power. So anyway, we'll look at the film and we'll see that. Central Michigan coming in. The mindset down there at Schembechler, we've been there. It's always a delicate psychological decision that the leader has to make on how you approach your team after a win or a loss. So, what is Sharon Moore's approach? Is he ripping dudes? Is he demoting guys? Or is he loving them up and keeping we don't know. And I've seen both.
Yeah.
But we're confident. I think I think they're just going to be confident. But let's focus on Central Michigan. Central Michigan hired an Army guy. The guy he's a young guy, but he was at Army for the last 4 or 5 years, coaching the offensive line, maybe the offensive coordinator. But I watched him against San Jose State. I watched a good part of that game. And I was really impressed with the physicality that they want to play with. Yeah. You could see Army in what they do offensively with their football team. Old school, and they're going to come off the ball low. They want to run some old school physical stuff. It looks a lot like the Army offense without the option stuff. It's a lot of the stuff they do. I think it's a great matchup for our defense, because they're going to want to be physical. When you want to be physical, that's a good matchup for us. When you want to play spread ball like Oklahoma, it's not as good for us. But the ideal situation for this game is, but I think it's a great matchup for our defense. Again, play about 35 guys on defense. Rotate guys, continue to get better, come out healthy. Offensively, what we're going to see from their defense was, they're going to play hard, but they're not going to have the kind of players. They're going to have players similar talent-wise as New Mexico. But offensively, you like to be able to do, have our way with them. A lot of formations, but I want to see a second quarterback. I want to see a third tackle. I want to see another tight end other than Klein. And I have to say this, one of the biggest disappointments, and again, we look at the film, is we got Klein out. Okay, he's a good player. He's a captain. He's a good player. He can block and catch. What's disappointing is that we recruited all these tight ends, and now we can't really run our offense that we really want to run. You know what I mean? Having a tight end with his hand on and running behind him. It was kind of discouraging to think that this guy gets hurt and some of these other guys we recruited, we can't run the football behind him. That's kind of what I was seeing.
Well, we had Klein out, of course. He got hurt in last week's practice. He traveled, but you saw that big brace on his ankle. They didn't put him in. Hogan Hansen, who had played last year, is working through some injury that he had earlier in the year. He played, right? But he must not be all the way back, because I think he probably would have started if he was completely healthy. Prieskorn, we have not seen him this year. He must be injured. And Tony Ellie. who got talked about in the fall camp, he obviously must be injured. You don't want to disparage any player. Zach Marshall got in there and gave everything he had, and he always does. That guy is a team first player. He is one of the biggest cheerleaders. He busts his butt anytime he gets in there. Last year, we had him in the game when we were down all of our tight ends and it was on the goal line and we needed a push from the 1 or the 2 yard line. And that guy busted his butt. But, you know, there's a reason one guy's starting and the other guy's the backup because the starter's better. We have a lot of injuries, tight end especially. Then we had some guard problems. So you do what you can with what you have.
No, I know. I really thought Hoffman was going to be that second guy, dude, based on the spring game. He looked like
Hoffman got in a little bit the first game, but I don't know if I saw him this game.
So, you know, these guys see him, and I'm not seeing him every day. I just thought he would have been, because I always said I wanted 2 big physical tight ends we can run to, because Bredesen is more of a fullback, H-back. Right. He gives 100%. Us that, but I just, you know.
Injuries will do it, and you, like I said, you know, if there was any way that Klein could have gone, I'm certain that he would have. But you can't risk the rest of the season for one game, especially if it's a non-conference game, the second game of the year. They got to manage the roster the best way they see fit, and I'm fine with that. And as a matter of fact, if Klein is even questionable for this week, I'd hold him out. I wouldn't play him.
Yeah,
because the other guys need work. Obviously.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
El Hadi went down too and was replaced by Afobe. If El Hadi is questionable, sit him. Okay. I don't think that Central Michigan is going to be a threat to us that we would miss Klein or El Hadi. This team has, when we watch this film, there was some instances where Michigan was overpowered by a defense that pinned their ears back. But you're going to see some miscommunication that led to not targeting the right guy. So when you ask, are they going to go into practice screaming and yelling, or are they going to go back to practice and say, look, we got to work on this. All right. There was some miscommunication here. A couple of plays, a defensive lineman came through. He wasn't blocked. Miscommunication.
Yeah.
You know, there's some plays where we targeted the right guy, but we didn't block him the right way. They have a lot of work to do, and this is the week that to do it. You were talking about you wanted to see these backup linemen or a lot of guys on defense. I'm kind of the opposite of that, Jim. I think that the starters need to get as many reps as they can get because they need to work through quite a few things, and we'll see it on the film.
Yeah. No, dude, that's what coaches always debate. You know, we debated it as in our coaching room, and we fought and punched each other out, man. Me and you'd have loved, we'd have been swinging at each other at times, but at the end of the day, that's coaching, man. Anyway, I want to give a Central Michigan but we want to play guys, but you're right. We got to get, other guys got to get better, man. Okay, quick run through of some of the people we're going to face. Nebraska. I took another look at them. I like the matchup again against them better than Oklahoma. I like the matchup better than USC. I like it because the quarterback isn't as athletic. Okay, and he wants to be physical. Nebraska wants to be physical offensively. That's more in our wheelhouse. He'll have a fullback. He'll want to knock you off the ball. I want people the people that want to live and die with that stuff. That's more in our wheelhouse. We'll defend them better. I think we have better players than them. They don't like to run their quarterback much. So that just softens so much. It takes so much away from your offense when you don't have quarterback run. Because you look at Oklahoma, that opens. We'll look at the film. So much of that was opened up by that. So I like the Nebraska matchup better than Oklahoma and USC. Okay. Any thoughts about them, dude? Did you look at them?
No, not those guys. I did watch a little bit, but neither one of those were a huge concern with me. The one that pops out after just getting our tail kicked by a mobile quarterback is Michigan State with Aiden Childs.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, that takes on a whole new aspect because he didn't have a lot of rushes, designed rushes. He had a lot of scrambles that he picked up critical first downs. That guy was a gamer Saturday.
Yeah, he's a problem, man. So, okay, well, I'm going to talk. I watched them. I watched everything they've done, man. The guy's a good coach. They run that outside zone. They have a good scheme offensively. He's got a good coach on defense. And that's going to be a war over there. And the thing you could always count on with Childs was a mistake, a dumb turnover, a fumble. Well, he hasn't done it yet. But that game will be a tough game. They're a good team. They beat Bill O'Brien's a good coach at Boston College. They beat him at the end. So nothing's changed with them. They'll be every bit as tough to beat as Nebraska on the road.
Oh, for sure. And,
yeah,
4 touchdown passes and a touchdown run, right?
Yeah.
In all those scrambles and kept them in the game. It was
That's
a beautiful play design in overtime for the winner of the 2-point conversion. But one concern I would have if I was a Spartan fan, they gave up a lot of passing yards. Lonergan threw for almost 400 yards.
Yeah.
And that would be a concern. If you don't have a quarterback who can scramble and get you out of some jams, 400 yards passing, that's something that needs to be addressed.
You're right. I see a differential in talent, their defense compared to our defense. We got better players on, the guy's a good coach, but let's exploit him. We got to run the ball. You're right. There's a talent different there, but when I look at USC, USC is loaded up in talent. That guy has built the talent there. I look at their talent just like ours. They have players. He went out and got players. That's going to be a tough game, a physical game. So I just want to focus on those people we're going to see. I was going to go over some other thoughts, but I'm like about evaluating our players. I think I'm just better off getting right to the film.
Yeah.
And is a better deal there because we can talk about the different position groups a lot better like this. Are you looking at the film, Du?
Yep, I am.
Okay, good. So anyway, we're gonna start this thing off.
This is the 3rd down and 9 play. This is
the 3rd down. It looks like they're in 2 deep, Du, and the weakness of 2 deep coverage.
2 deep coverage, right where that arrow's pointing. The vulnerability of 2 deep is right down the center of the field.
Yeah.
And here's what I've always asked. If you run that back a little bit, yeah, man, that kid made a great catch. And just pause it as he breaks from the line, if you can. Keep going back a little.
Oh, dude, this is already doing it, man.
Is that right?
Yeah, just keep talking about it.
All right. We're running 2 deep. It's a zone coverage back there. The vulnerability is between the safeties. So if you look at Jimmy Rolder, who's sitting there at linebacker, the tight end, number 12, they have trips to their left, our right. The linebacker is the number 3 receiver, the 3rd one in from the sideline. He gets a free release to the center of the field, and I don't understand that. I don't know why we do not get hands on these receivers and disrupt their routes, which disrupts the timing. We were taught that by Moeller. Get there. If a receiver is coming at you into your zone, disrupt his route, and that will disrupt the timing. We let that guy run free right past the linebacker, right into the middle of the field. He makes a tremendous catch, and we let Oklahoma off the hook. That was disappointing.
Yeah, Du, I'm thoroughly disappointed here that I'm having technical problems right away. I had it last week, and anyway, yeah, you got to put that on Rolder, and how are they coaching it?
Well, you got to put it on how it's coached.
Yeah, and how, it's like, are you going to jam the guy? You either jam him or you just turn and run with him. It's like the old cover 2. The Tampa 2. Yeah, that's why they always wanted a fast. A fast linebacker.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do a whole lot of rewinding. I'm not going to do a whole lot of rewinding, man. Are you looking at the film? I got to share it again. Anyway, I'm not going to do a whole lot of rewinding. I'm just not going to take a lot of chance to lose this thing. Are you looking at the film?
Right there, I see him.
Okay.
Well, there
So
he is,
you
right
understand?
in the middle of the field.
Yeah. You understand where we're at? Because I don't want to have to deal with this. I'm going to kind of
I
let
get
it
it.
run, and we'll talk about it. And I'm just going to let it run.
Yep.
We're in a 5-1 look. It's 3rd and 9. I have a question about this player right here. And you wonder why this guy's making, they paid him $3 million. Let's take a look. 3rd and 9. You got to get to that middle third, that far third there. I don't know what he's waiting on. You know, do?
Yeah.
Get to that far third. He's a third player. He's got to get there. You got to get there, man. We're trying to disguise, but that's why that kid was paid $3 million. So, that's Metcalf. Metcalf has been a good player. He's got to get there, though. All right, 1st and 10. 1st and 10. This is their first drive. Conflict. This team, this guy put our defense in conflict. They're going to give us jet motion, and that starts the conflict. You have to honor jet. And they come back with, okay, and these are all the things you got to defend, dude. If you're playing defense right now, first of all, you had to honor jet. So that cleared, that changes your adjustment, your scheme, whatever the hell you're thinking as a player. He has the ball right now where he could throw bubble out here. He could throw it to this player. He could throw it to this player. So people can't run out of there. You know what I mean? And now you have quarterback power where they're pulling people and they run the quarterback power in there. So, and then we lit the ball outside the defense. Who's letting the ball outside the defense there, dude?
That's Jimmy Rolder out there. He just has his shoulders. He's not square to the line of scrimmage. He thinks that guy might be running up inside of him, so he turns his shoulders a little bit and gets his feet crossed up.
I never yelled at a player. I never yelled at a player for missing a tackle, but the most unathletic guy in the world can keep the ball inside the defense. You know what I mean? I've had kids that were running 5-2 corners, but they were smart enough always to keep the ball inside the defense.
Inside and in front.
That's right. Keep the ball. This kid here is a lot tougher than I thought. When I watched him at Washington State, I knew he was fast and athletic, but it looked like he put on like 10 pounds of muscle. And here it is, 4th and 1, and they're running him. They're running their quarterback. Why aren't we running ours?
That's a whole nother question, buddy.
I mean, because this puts a whole nother problem that we're playing defense is when they run the court. That's why I like Nebraska better.
Well, look at where the line of scrimmage got moved to.
I know. I don't want to do. I'm reluctant to run stuff back.
I get it.
I do not.
So this one here, just real quick, they're going to run this jet around us, right?
They run jet to unbalance. So that's what we have to first. You got to start out. What's the formation now before the motion? So we're thinking about one thing. What's the down and distance? 2nd and goal. So you have a kind of a heavy set to our right. Go ahead, talk to us, dude.
All right. So on the bottom here, that's number 12 in the Y receiver. He's a tight end off the line, right? Yeah. That guy was a linebacker for 3 years. A good linebacker, but he played linebacker for 3 years. I watched him last week. He can't block. And you're going to watch TJ Guy show you that he can't block. TJ Guy is going to blow him up. What you're trying to do here on this jet is create a wall. You can use the black line or whatever color line that is at the 9-yard line. We want to build a wall there. Here comes Metcalf, but the problem is TJ Guy beats that block from that tight end. Well, now tight end. Yeah, number 12, tight end. He beats it so bad he gets too far upfield.
Yeah, right.
And now
you remember Coach Mo talking lateral seams, right?
Lateral seams.
So he beat, and I've had this as a coach. You have one player that hammers his dude, and everybody else is in a flat wall. But there's now the guy that hammered this guy so bad there's a lateral seam. But anyway, this puts us in conflict because the motion. You get the motion, and now defensively, there's a lot we have to honor. Okay, first of all, you got to honor jet this way. That's one thing. But this side still has to honor quarterback run. That's why, again, this kid's a problem. He freezes this whole side of our defense here. because they have to honor this kid's ability to run. So let me take it back and do as a linebacker. You know, you're a A to B gap, like you're a B to D player. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, 100%. Everybody's got a gap, and so you got a guy out here on our right, left on the screen here, right?
Yeah.
He wants to stretch out any kind of block that's trying to hook him, and he does. He blows this up. So now you got Hausman, who's on the 5-yard line right there. So you got Guy stuffing it there, Hausman filling that gap, and then TJ Metcalf, who's on the 1 or 2 right now, he's going to come up and fill outside as well. That should be the wall, but because Guy gets too far upfield, it creates that lateral seam you just talked about and gives him plenty of space. And then the last thing I want to point out is,
but dude, right now, if you're this linebacker, you have to make a decision. How are you taking on,
right there? That's your gap.
Yeah. How are you taking on this lead blocker? Are you going to be left shoulder or are you going to be right shoulder? You have to make a decision. You got to know where your help is.
He's a running back, and you're Ernest Hausman. I'm taking him on straight on. My screws to his screws and pop him back because that's your gap.
Yeah.
The problem is, look at where Metcalf's at.
Yeah, I get you.
Look where his head's at on that block.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna talk to you real quick about TJ Guy because I played this position and I coached it, and and you did too. And you have he's an inside. If you have to be able to come off on this thing, you're an inside control player. I think he's counting on help here. You're right. TJ Guy is the biggest because he pounds the hell out of his kid. He did the hard part. And this is why we do hands drill every day. You got to come off and make the play. So there's a lot of, man, it's just discouraging because the hard part was done by TJ Guy, and we let him off the hook. So that was discouraging because it was anyway. Yeah. We'll look at that 2nd and 6. They're bringing pressure. I think Bryce does a good job being an athletic. This is why he's a highly recruited kid. It's a good job by him.
Great job because he's got his back turned to the play for a second.
Yeah, that's stuff you can't coach. That's athletic. That's tall enough to do that. You know, if that's a short quarterback. So let me just say this about Bryce too. This kid is we saw improvement from game 1 to game 2. You're gonna maybe we did. It appeared like we didn't from 1 to 2. That you could make that argument, but he had his first road start. He's going to be so much better game 3. Game 4, dude, I remember my first 3. Every game was better. By game 4, I was up and running. I had you know how to deal with the stress a little more. Anyway, 3rd and this is a great job by Venables. This is how I used to defend this. You're looking at down and distance. You're looking at the team. You're looking at the rookie quarterback. This is exactly what I would do. He's taking away QB run and he's taking away bubble. He's daring them to throw the ball over here. That's what Venables is doing, dude. This is exactly what I used to do against this kind of stuff for a team that you're going to try to spread me out when you got 3rd and 2. The hell with that. And that's what he does. He brings people. He brings this corner. He brings this guy. They're killing bubble. And that's exactly what I would do. He's got all kinds of dudes coming. You know, and this is the stuff that gets back to, you know, that's not so much a player thing. You have to have courage. Last week I was talking about my love for Chip not being predictable, right?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you got to have the balls to maybe throw a 10-yard pass there. Anyway, 1st and 13. We did this last week. We threw on our 6-yard line. And I got Hausman circled here, but this is why this kid's making $3 million. Let's take a look. I wonder why Hausman is delayed here. This is a dime. And that kid's from Michigan. That kid's from Belleville.
Yep.
You know, dude, look at Hausman. You know, this split second that he delays. I mean, why is he delaying on the blitz? You know what I mean? What's he reading?
Well,
it's
man-to-man
for the back to stay in?
If it's man-to-man coverage,
he's probably waiting on the back to
he's
stay
got to
in.
wait to see what the running back's doing.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. And then, you know, here we go, 2nd and 3. You can easily say you don't like the call because we ran it down there, but he's bringing people, and this kid plays it good. This corner up here at the top. Normally times you see corners they don't know how to contain, and we come with a reverse, and they guess right. This happens sometimes on defense. You know, it is what it is. They guess right. They come right into it, and then the kid does a good job of keeping contained at the top. You know, left shoulder. I froze up.
Well,
talk to us, dude. I'm going to get back. Go over some things.
First, you got to know who you're targeting when you go to block. And then when you know who you're targeting, you got to block the guy. You're right. Venables sniffed something out, and he threw two guys at our left side right off the edge. And, you know, we're running a play there. They don't know that, but they're running a blitz, and it's just bad timing. But man, oh man, you got to target the right guys. You got to hit the guys that you're targeting. You can't run by them. You can't give them a shoulder chuck. You have to hit them like you mean it. And on that play, we were the nail. Oklahoma was the hammer. That was a tough one because you're trying anything. I can see what the coaches are trying to do. Look, man, the passing downfield's not working. The running game's not working like we like. We got to try something to get these guys out of the box. And man, oh man.
Anyway,
so
can you see me now, dude?
I'm seeing the play.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, I'm watching the play. Yeah.
Okay, so we're up and running again then?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I got will improve. Again, I just go by. I know I didn't play quarterback, but I know how much the learning curve is big time for the first 3 or 4 games, and then it settles out. I like the block by Haynes down here. This is nice. Punch. He's a physical kid, man. And Bryce does a great job with his athleticism, looking downfield.
I think that, I mean, you know, there is Bryce outside of the pocket. I think that's the way to go, man, especially with this line, and you're missing your best tight end who blocks very well. I think leaving him in the pocket might be taking a risk. Yeah. If you let him use his athletic ability, let this guy do what he can do. You just watched him roll out there and throw a nice pass, and he baited those defenders. Hey, I'm going to run. And they came up and left the receiver behind him, and he found him. He did a great job last week when he threw across his body. If you go back and watch that play against New Mexico, he rolled out to his right. Watch how much force he puts onto the ball and how his body contorts to get a laser shot to the receiver. This guy's got a lot of talent. Yeah. We got to take the gloves off a little bit, man. Let this guy do what he can do. If he gets sacked once in a while, okay. If he gets sacked for no gain on a run or a scramble, okay. If he throws an interception, all right. But he's working his way through things. We can't wrap this kid in bubble.
Yeah. Here's 2nd and 9, and we come out empty. And I don't like the block by and this is again this is exactly what I used to do against this type of stuff. I just like hell. I'm bringing the dude, man. You ain't running no bubble stuff out here if I'm playing defense against you. And Venables does a lot of stuff that I did. So
this guy, yes, these guys on Michigan,
we don't block them. It's just poor communication. It's poor coaching. It's poor playing. We don't block them. So, you know, what's the excuse for that? I don't know, but we don't block him. So this guy is in. He's thinking just like I did with this. We don't block this dude. That's poor coaching by the receiver coach, the offensive coordinator. You know,
you can see when Godwin looks up. You can see when the inside slot runs into the guy. Bredesen's supposed to get the linebacker, but that blitzing corner gets in his way. They blew that play up.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, here we go, dude. 1st and 10. They motion to empty. I mean, this is what I thought we'd see. I'm looking at the Washington State offense, except a little more quarterback run when I was looking at them trying to figure out what the hell they were going to do. So they really they didn't do much that Wink wouldn't have been prepared for. I'll tell you that right now. So anyway, they motion to empty, 1st and 10. And it's just the weakness of the defense. You know, they find a seam in there. You're playing zone, and this player is playing this stuff, this linebacker do, and then the other three guys are dropped deep, and that's just this. They found the weaknesses in our zone defense, and now they run a similar concept to this side, and we pick them off. Dude, I'm so reluctant to run these plays back, man.
I get it.
I don't want to be. I'm going to try to do it.
Just pause them.
Yeah, so he overthrows this one, and
I mean, I don't know why he overthrew it. Frankly, that guy
makes a nice play.
That's the most disturbing thing is that guy is wide open, and
yeah. Well, that's the only mistake we made. We made him pay. Go ahead.
I'm afraid to know what would happen if that guy caught it. That might have been a big, long touchdown.
Yeah, well, it was the same concept
that I'm worried about.
Yeah, it was the same concept of the play they just had the big run on, or the big pass on the other side. It was the same kind of deal. You know, they're kind of, they understand the sweet spot and the weakness of our 4-3 defense. You know, I don't like this play by we both played this position. Okay, so we've got Nichols out here, and I understand how they're coaching it. They're telling him, look, if it's a run play, because look what they got. They got a 3 technique in here. So you got a guy outside the guard. So if it's a run play, we need Nichols here. If it's a pass, if it's a bubble or some type of pass play, I think they're going to maybe drop him and have the 3 technique contained. I think that's how he's being coached. But Wink told him, look, if it's run, I want you to get your butt in here and seal this C gap right up the tackle's ass. If it's pass, drop. But when I watch Nichols here, he doesn't react fast enough. And he's got to react faster. I'm just going to let it run. You see how his eyes should be back here on the quarterback, and he's looking over here. And you know it. You played this position, dude. And it's tough. You're in conflict. And sure enough, they run the damn play right off the ass of the tackle, and they pick up the first down. So it's one of them defenses, dude, where my coach would say, I understand that he's asking you to do like Superman type stuff. You know what I mean? But
you just mentioned the word conflict, and we talked about it last week. What did we want to see Michigan do against Oklahoma? We wanted to see him put in conflict. Well, let me tell you, Venables and his staff put Michigan in conflict. They knew that 33 out there, Dominic Nichols, he's a sophomore. He played a little bit last year. He's got a lot of talent. I think the coaches are super excited about his future. The problem is he lacks experience, and that's why you see the hesitation. He's thinking, right? Oklahoma knows that, and they took advantage of it, put this kid in conflict. Urban Meyer, who I hate to even reference ever for anything, Urban Meyer used to say, find the fish.
That's right.
When his offense was on the field, they were looking for the weakest player, the most inexperienced player, the guy that they can take advantage of. Find the fish and exploit him. Yeah. Well, on that play, Nichols was the fish.
Yeah, Hayden Fry used to say, salt on the wound. Here's 2nd and 5, and it's a similar deal. It's the same. They run an option here. This guy, again, he does some good stuff, and I think they're trying to cat and mouse it here with Nichols. I don't like the way we were coached. The way I coached it and the way I was taught as a coach is once you recognize option, so Nichols has the quarterback and then to pitch. But the way I was coached is to take this angle back here. Don't look to make the play here. You're not going to tackle that running back running force 5 over here. Come back at an angle here and try to make the play here. So I don't like that he rounds it off. You know what I mean? He's rounding that thing off. And then we don't do a good job with either of these players. We let them pick up extra yards here.
Well, the DB's got to come up, and we had some really poor tackling last week. Yeah. And everybody wants to come in and take the big kill shot instead of bringing the guy down. We're not wrapping up. We're looking for these flashy big kill shots so you can stand over the guy and look down on him and tell him how tough you are.
Anyway, here's Wink's favorite stunt. We got a lot of plays. I want to try to get through this stuff. This is his favorite stunt. You talk to us about this backer here. They have him faking like he's coming inside. We're going to slant to the right, and we get some good pressure here.
That's Cole Sullivan. That's the guy who they really like a lot. He's super athletic. You're going to see a lot of that guy in the future. He's got a great career ahead of him.
You know, I'm looking at here, do 3rd and 6, and we've got the ball, and we're only down 7-0, man. We haven't hardly done anything on offense, you know?
Yep.
So here we are in a 3-and-1 formation. It's 3rd and 6. Let's see what we got. I'm just saying.
I mean,
go ahead.
You can just pause it there for a second. Oklahoma is not afraid of anything here, right? They don't. Yeah. They got all these guys on the line. They're going to let those guys on the backside be one-on-one, and they're not even looking at their guys. They're they're reading their keys or looking at the quarterback. Yeah. They didn't respect anything that we were going to do.
Yeah, he gives you many looks. Here's 7 up, man. 7 dudes, 5 to block 7 or the back 6. You know, so, and then you know, he's throwing some, and then we run the football, man. So you got to give you can't treat this kid like he's a freshman that can't throw the football. Nope. Let him throw the ball there. Move to unbalance. So they were motioning to unbalance. Let's see what we get here. We execute here. I thought we executed well here. Motion to unbalance. And we get, see, this is a time, where we catch them a little bit. You know, we're doing things. Sometimes guys overcompensate.
Well, that's a zone. That's a split zone look, and the guy coming across the zone bluffs. That's a play we used to run a lot in the past, where you could fake the handoff or pull it, and then Bryce has the opportunity to roll out a little bit to his right and get that guy who came across the formation and bluff the block, and he has the option to throw it to him or run. Yeah. It's a good play, and it was, like you said, executed well. He read, give the ball, and he gave to Haynes. Haynes makes a pickup.
Yeah, keep talking, dude. What else is there?
That's it. That's a play that you can set up the next play for. So you run it this way this time, and the next time you get that look, you can say, okay, now make it look like that last time. This time, pull it and either run or toss to the guy. You put the defense in conflict. We've run that play a bunch of times.
Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, the point about that play is a lot of times when you run on balance, you don't always know how a guy's going to adjust.
No, right.
So are you seeing it again?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, so you don't always know how a guy is going to adjust.
But see, now the formation has gotten the 7 guys away from the box. Now we have an opportunity, and look at length. That's a great block.
Yeah.
There were some positives here, man. It wasn't all doom and gloom.
Yeah. Scheme. I got scheme 1st and 10. We got them. They're not really lined up real good. We got an advantage here. We got down blocks. I like this, how we could pin this guy in, and we're taking advantage of it. We get our quarterback outside the defense. So that was a schematic, good call. Venables did not have a contained player. I like when we see our coaches seeing weaknesses of the opponent's defense. See, we got good, easy down blocks here. Bredesen can pin that guy in. It's just not a sound defense.
It was a great job by Bryce too. If you went back, or he looks to the left, he's keeping the defense in check by using his eyes.
Yeah.
And then, of course, first of all, we kicked a field goal. You know, I'm sorry to say, Jim would have never kicked a field goal in that position. I think he would have gone for it. And I think Sharon is getting a little bit of a reputation of being a little too conservative on some of these things.
Yeah, here's 3rd and 7. And this linebacker is his own player. Now, you got to work back inside like basketball. You know what I mean? When you're that linebacker, you're trying to jam this player, but then you have to feel him and work underneath a little more than our backer does here. You see that?
He doesn't get a hand. And first of all, it's TJ Guy. He's an edge guy. He's not a guy that you should be dropping back into a coverage, but that's the system we play in.
Yeah, well, see, that dude. That's the weakness of Wink likes to say we got guys that can play all over the place.
End in coverage.
Winks likes to say that we are positionless players, but there's a weakness to, he's not getting a lot of linebacker reps, you know what I mean, to play those kind of curl routes.
Well, he tried some of that stuff last year by moving Mason Graham to the edge, and especially against Texas. And every time Texas saw it, they checked at the line and said, okay, just run away from that guy.
Yeah.
They're going to put him on the left edge. We're going to run it to the right.
Dude, this is a power play, and this is how we want to defend this. Okay, we want to squeeze with 3 players. We want the inside defensive lineman. Okay, they're going to run power to our right. Okay, this is how we're defending this, and this is the same thing we did 40 years ago. The inside player is going to push from inside out. Our right edge player is going to try to meet this big puller and squeeze and punch.
Right.
And try to make this gap in here small, so we're not leaving this linebacker on a big island. We want that gap small, so all 3 of them can squeeze. This is how we're defending this play. We're trying.
Yeah, this is a pin and pull
of what we're doing, but I'm going to let it run, and you can see where this player's not squeezing enough. This guy does a decent job. I think that's Benny in there. Yeah, I think Benny's our best inside defensive lineman, in my opinion.
3 years he's been playing. He's gotten better every year, but he needs help. You got to get some help, and you got to get better.
Here's again OU. I think they did a good job finding weaknesses in our zones.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. It's 2nd and 2, and he gets outside the defense. And I don't like how we're we got to squeeze. We got to tackle right shoulder, squeeze from inside, get there. It should be a right shoulder tackle here. We should tackle him right here. And that's extra yards, man. That's big time yards on the goal line.
And that's Hillman, who's a big hitter, but that's not a play he should be made.
We're looking at this. There's an empty, or right now, if you look at this, what's the down distance? 2nd and goal. Okay. We have a A gap player here. I think he's a B gap player, and these guys are handling this. But Hausman has the A gap here, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So pause it right there.
Yeah, he's got to read that thing, and he overcommitted to this side, which he's not responsible for a gap.
We talk about building a wall, and you just talked about all the gaps, and you're responsible for a gap, which means you have to do your job. And unfortunately, on that play, Hausman got a little bit nosy, left his job, which was the A gap. Hey, man, you got this gap. You got to trust that your brothers on the other side are going to take their gaps, but you got to keep your job. And that was the A gap, and he got nosy, got over a little bit, and then that quarterback's just too good. He's going to exploit you, and he's going to make you pay for your mistakes.
So we're down 14-0. And dude, I pound the table for 7 offensive linemen 2 or 3 times a game, so the defense has to prepare for it. I will always pound the table for it because you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know how a guy is going to adjust.
Yeah. Pause it. Don't run this yet. I want whoever's watching this, you want to watch the linebackers, right? So the linebackers have keys. One of them is the guard or the uncovered lineman in front of him. And then the motion by Bredesen, 44, in the slot right there. See, there he goes. And then watch. See the guard go to the right. That was a phobie. That took the defense and made him think this play is going to the right. When you couple the guard's pulling motion, Bredesen's turn around to cut back and block to the right, and the track of Haynes. That play looked, by all intents and purposes, like it was going to the right. Then the offensive line built the wall of friendly butts. Haynes sees that, gets everybody on the defense to commit to his right, their left, and then he cuts it back and gone. That was a beautiful play.
I think the play was supposed to go to the right, and I don't think they adjusted properly. I think they over pursued on the backside.
I think if you could run that back and you can see the guys on the right, I mean, our linemen on the left, to the left of the center, right? Yeah. They're building the wall. They're not trying to reach their guy. They're not trying to hook their guy. They are blasting. This ball is a cutback.
Yeah, but anyway, what I like about this more than anything, though, and we ran it the first play of the game. We came out 7 offensive linemen the first play of the game. Okay, are you looking at the film?
Yeah. Yep.
First play of the game, we came out with 7 offensive linemen, and I didn't like the way they were adjusted to the 4-dude side. They didn't have enough defense. Or I'm calling before the ball is snapped to run the ball right here. Okay, because I just think there's something there, and I don't think Oklahoma adjusted properly. I don't. And again, you cover it. I don't think they're real sound, but the some of the confusion is with the formation that creates problems.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
They're not real clear on their gap responsibilities. So that's why I will always advocate to see some of that, because I think it, you just don't know what a guy is going to do. So anyway, we got some hope. We got some faith. It's 14-7, and they are slanting to our right. They eventually end up with 8 dudes up in here. 1st and 10. And they just they catch it from the backside. And there's really not, it's a weakness of what we're doing. And they caught us. They brought pressure from the backside. They guessed right. And, do it. You get in a big game. Their receiver made that one-handed catch right down the middle of the field, right? Catching it, bouncing it. Their tight end. Their quarterback has made plays. And, we'll have a receiver make a big play, but Shug has a chance to make a big play here. This kid, I think he had more reps than any player on the team. Shug. Because he plays a lot of special teams too. But, you get a chance to make a play, you got to make a play. And he's a good player, man. I mean, he's getting he's covering a good player. I know some people were down on him. I'm a believer in him. He's playing a lot of reps. But you got to make plays, man. You get a chance to pick a ball off. Again, this is why this kid's making $3 million, and this is why I don't like bringing corners, but Wink does it a lot, and you got to break down. You got to know when to break down, man.
You just said it, man. Make a play. This is a great dial up by Wink. We're going to get a free shot at this quarterback.
You got to break down, man. And look at this play. That's $3 million right there.
I mean, that was a third and 8 in a 7-point game. We got a chance to hold them to 3 points. And the quarterback makes a great play. We don't make a play, and then he finds a guy. Yeah,
that's what's frustrating as a coach, because Wink put our team in a position to make a play. He called the right defense, and we did not execute. Here's QB power, 2nd and 7. I think I don't understand how they over penetrate sometimes. I don't know how they coach it. I see. I think this is more here. He's going to over penetrate and create a lateral seam and make it easy for this guy to kick him out. So you're going to see it. I just think he's too far upfield. You know what I mean, dude?
Yeah, he's taking on a lineman, and he wants to make sure he gives no ground. But by doing that, he turns his shoulders. He blasts the guy. His head's not down. When I teach that, and I think we learned it at Michigan too, if a guy is squeezing down, let's say your tight end blocks down in front of you, you squeeze that gap down, but you keep your shoulders straight to the line of scrimmage. You keep them square. And if a lineman is coming at you, sink down, get that inside shoulder below his sternum, and as soon as he gets you, rise up and pop that guy right in the chin. Yeah. You're not going anywhere. You got a great base. Moore's a big, strong guy, and now you're in an athletic position to try and do something after that block. But he tries to blast the guy, and then he's kind of out of position.
Yeah, it's always about squeezing gaps, man. You want the edge guy squeezing. I hear they're bringing it's 1st and 18, and they guess right, man.
So, man, I wish you could run this play back. This play was set up. If you could at least run it back to the beginning, I don't know if you can, without it jamming up, and then just pause it at the start. You don't have to run it after that. This play is set up. They have 9. Pause it right there and don't start it. This is going to be a quarterback lead. It's basically a power, and Bryce is going to keep the ball. And we have this thing set up. but unfortunately, we don't target the right, and this could have picked up huge yards. This would have been a great lift, and somebody didn't target the right guy. The guard doesn't get their guy, and the center or the right guard, there was miscommunication because we didn't block the nose guard. He gets right in there. Miscommunication. Had the right guard or the center blocked back on that nose guard, play still has a chance. And then if the pulling guard gets the guy on the edge, this play goes big. We had an opportunity.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna move along here. See where
I mean, and we've been in an hour.
I'm gonna let it run. We looked at that play. Got to break down. You have to. And Mangum makes this play. Then
Yep.
he makes it. They run the same thing later with him, and he makes the play. Breaks down a little bit. So he's a good player. We're down 11. And number one, this is a play now. This is a freak. I said he was gonna. I'll still stand on it. Well, maybe the running back is going to challenge for that, but I think this was a big time transfer for us to bring him in, and this is a great play. I mean, you can't coach this. This ain't coaching. But that's going out and get a player, man. They got a quarterback making plays. They went out and got one of the best quarterbacks in the country. We got to do the same thing, man. So that's a great play.
Great play. And if you capitalize on that, get a touchdown, we are 4 points away.
Yep. Line of scrimmage, 3rd and 4. A little bit of movement here, which is good. That's Michigan football. We get some movement. And we get stopped again.
Yeah, that's too bad.
I have a question here. It's 1st and 10. I have a question about something. Let's see. Oh, we're screwed up here. The way we blitz there, it's not sound. We're running into each other.
We left the guy wide open, and
then we looked at the linebacker, or number 7 here. Is that one? Who is that? The linebacker. Another great play by this kid. I don't like how we're doing something here. Let's take a look.
Full out blitz, 1-on-1, and
they do a great job. It's amazing that he understands to have that back release on that pressure. And the quarterback makes the play. This is Barham. He's got this tight end man to man. It's down in distance, 1st and 10. We catch a break here. He's got a man to man. And they run some reverse action to try to fool people, or they do something. Yeah, they run some, and he sees it late. You see it? He's running from behind, and he catches a break here. Quarterback overthrows it. So that's another mistake that kid made. Let's see here. Oh, we lose contain here.
Yeah, look at the edge. His shoulders are.
Yeah, there's nothing in here but a butt chewing, dude. You know that. There ain't nothing in there but a butt chewing on film day. Stay outside the defense, man. Stay outside the defense. This guy is counting on you. He is counting on you to stay out here. That's why he's coming inside there. It's not his fault. And this guy lets us down. Brandt. Is that number 9? That's number 9, right?
This is a backbreaker, man. This is the
he
final.
Lets the ball outside the defense, man. You got to know your responsibility.
This is a championship style drive. It's the end of the game, and they're going to chew up 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's winning football.
And then here's he's got him man to man. This is a good job by Barham. 3rd and goal. I mean, he's got to get through a lot of this wash here. They're going to run these guys across to try to jack him up. And he gets through it, and at least we get him stopped for a field goal. You see him get through all that wash?
Oh, yeah.
That's a kid. He's a heck of a player, man. That's why, this kid has to be big enough and strong enough to take on these 300-pound guards, and then he's got to be fast enough to run with a guy like that. My last statement, and this is the end of the film, this dude right here, I think he saved his job, dude. He went out and got an offensive coordinator from Washington State. He went out and got a $3 million quarterback, and I think he saved his job.
That was money well spent. And, you know, the thing, the book on Mateer was he played for Washington State. There is no Pac-12 anymore. He played a lot of Mountain West schools last year. And so the book on him was he hasn't faced a defense. Well, he did a pretty damn good job for not facing a defense because he picked us apart. He threw some really nice passes. He found some open holes. He hit guys right on the fingertips. Listen, sometimes you just have to give credit to your opponent, and you have to give Oklahoma credit. That guy, like you said, he saved his job. Now, you got to see what happens the rest of the year. They got Auburn coming up, and they got to go and play an SEC schedule. But I thought that was a really impressive performance by them, both sides of the ball. And we let opportunities slip through our fingers. I think we were a little conservative in some spots. We have a lot of things to work on. The offensive line targeting the right people. And we have to get to a point where we can put the defenses in conflict. We're not there yet.
No, we got to help I'm hearing narratives, offensive line. Well, we got to help our offensive line by doing some schematic things that put them in conflict. We can't be afraid to throw on first down. We did it against New Mexico. You got to throw it on first down. You can't let Venables, when we're 3rd and 2, take away quarterback run and kill your bubbles. You have to have the courage because that's what he did. And we got to get back to that. We secured the football. Our running backs are still securing the football. Our quarterback secured the football. I mean, we didn't do a great deal, but our special team created a turnover. We did a lot of things to help our offense.
There was opportunities.
Yeah, our punter, we can't be punting from the 50 into the end zone. We got to put that at the 2-yard line. He had a great punt where we had the turnover on. That was a great punt from our end zone, and then we changed the flip there, the field position there.
We punted from the 38-yard line, Oklahoma's 38-yard line. That's a 55-yard field goal, and you got Dominic Zavada. I think that was a big mistake, punting, because, again, we punted from the 38, and we punted it in the end zone so they get the ball at the 20. I say let your players make plays. Dominic Zavada is a great kicker. It's a 55-yard kick.
Yeah. We froze up there. Anyway, I tell you, when I look at all the quarterbacks we're going to face, this kid might be the best that we're going to see because he's fit more physical than I thought. So we played against a good quarterback, but a good team. We're going to regroup. We're going to reload and get better. And Denny, Dude, I'm going to leave it on this last note. When I was coaching, this is what I would have told my players and coaches. But I would not have told my players this. I would have said that my players, I would have said it was an overall team loss. Everybody was a factor. No one was good enough. Our Demos wasn't good enough. Our trainer wasn't good enough. Our water boy wasn't good enough. Our offensive line wasn't good enough. Nobody was good enough. No one was good enough. And I would always point at me first. That's what I would have told the players. And as a coach, I would have told the coaches this was a program loss. That we weren't good enough as coaches and as a leader. We just have to. That's what it was. We got to be better in all phases of everything to do with our football program. Is how I would look at that if I'm leading this team. I'm going to leave it on that. Do any other thoughts?
No, I agree with you 100%. There's some things to build on. There's some things to correct. And now they got a week to do it. And then right into the Big Ten play. And I think you'll see a different team when obviously this weekend. But when we go up against Nebraska, I think they'll be better prepared. I think the offensive line will be a little sharper on who they're targeting. And I just, like you said, it took a few games to get better in your career. First game wasn't that good. Second game was better. Third game was better than that. And then the fourth game, as you said earlier, you were off and running. Same
Yeah,
thing.
there's a couple. I'm seeing comments now. Hey, we're praying for Jerry. Rico, you're right, brother. Praying for Jerry. And what he says, what'll it mean if the offense looks better? Well, that'll be interesting. With Sharon gone, that's just narrative. That's just people talking, man. He's sold that he would be coaching this week of practice and then starting Saturday, no contact. Okay, so that's the deal. That is true. People talking about some other things. Hansen, is he healthy? Yeah, we need Klein. We can't afford injuries. We need Theo. Wide out blocking. We got to get better blocking. Anyway.
Some pretty obvious things.
Yeah. Dude, we're all done here. Go Blue. Keep the faith,
Go Blue.
brother.
Keep the faith. Go Blue. Coming back.